And hello everybody and welcome. This is Rich Sports Talk and this is your host Nolan Rich. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get right into it. We're doing another mock draft for the New York Giants. Now the first one, I had a very interesting take. I had that the Giants were going to trade their second and fifth round picks for Josh Rosen for the Arizona Cardinals. So to mix it up a little bit, and because we've heard that there's multiple teams now on Josh Rosen, I have the New York Giants not trading for Josh Rosen in this draft. So, of course, this is going to be a little bit differently, but there are going to be trades of plenty. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying this, and I said this in my New York Jets full mock draft, that, look, I look for tendencies. I look for tendencies on what general managers look for, how they drafted previously. And it was a little bit easier for the Jets because they've had a longer history with Mike Maccagnan. This is only the second year of Dave Gettleman. But I do think that there's certain factors that are going to come into play in this draft. And, we're going to talk about all of them today. But we're going to get right into it. The first pick for the Giants at number 6 will be Rashawn Gary, the defensive end from Michigan. Now, I'm going to preface this before I get into Gary, is that a lot of reports have been coming out that the Giants have lost interest and they don't think Haskins would be a great fit. Now, I don't think the Giants are going to go all in on Haskins if they don't feel he's a great fit. For a lot of buzz about another quarterback we'll get into later. But for Gary, I kept him here. You look, the top 3 blue-chip defensive prospects right now are Josh Allen, Quinnen Williams, and Nick Bosa. To me, he's the 4th best defensive prospect in this draft. Actually, right behind White, actually. So I have him as my 5th prospect. Sorry, I got the order mixed up right there. But he's at that next tier of great defensive prospects. And look, he fits as a 3-4 end. This is something the Giants need. Now, initially, I think he might struggle a little bit with the pass rush. I think he's a little bit raw in that department. But this could be a guy that could be a potential double-digit sack guy. But at the very least, a very good run-stepping defensive end to come right in off the board. And a guy who can develop into a decent pass rusher. So I have him going number 1 overall to the Giants with their 6th pick. Now, I have the Giants with a trade, trading 17. I have them trading up to 12 with the Packers. They trade their first round 17th pick, the third round 32nd pick, and round 5 pick 5, and an asterisk on the round 5 one. They have the picks 4 and 5 in round 5, so I think that they'll move one of them to trade up to jump ahead of Miami, jump ahead of Washington to draft Daniel Jones, the quarterback out of Duke. Look, there's a lot of interest from the Giants and Dan Jones. He said he wants to play, he can play behind Eli Manning. He has that connection with the Manning camp from Duke. And, he works at the Manning complex during the summer and with the Manning camp for football. And here's the thing I like about him. He's had a lot more experience than Haskins. He started for 3 years. You've seen progression over those 3 years. And this year was his best, 22 touchdowns, 9 picks, and he completed over 60% of his passes. And one thing I really like about him that I like a little bit more than Haskins is he's a little bit more mobile. Now, he's a raw passer. He's going to have to sit, but I think that's a perfect situation behind Eli Manning, learning from Eli. And if you draft Haskins, I think the expectation is playing right away. At least with Jones, I think the Giants can buy it. And look, on my board, Jones is my 3rd best quarterback. I haven't had Locke, I haven't had Greer. I think he's a better overall prospect, and he doesn't get the love he deserves. And I think when you look at a quarterback and you look at who is the best in terms of when I look at the complete quarterback package, I think he is that in terms of what he can do with his athleticism, his legs, his ability to throw, the arm. And look, I think Murray's more accurate. I think that Murray and Haskins are more ready to go at this point. But I do think there's a lot of upside with Jones, and I think the Giants are smart. They move up from 17, they get their quarterback, and they jump out of a bunch of quarterback-needy teams. And here's the biggest reason why I have them drafting Jones. Because as of today, Russell Wilson has signed his extension. So I think that a lot of Giants fans were resigned to the fact that Russell Wilson was coming to New York. He's not coming. We've also seen that this Giants ownership group, which has the reputation of being one of the more patient organizations, they moved on from a head coach after just 2 years. After a disastrous last season, I think Gettleman has to have a bit of a trump card. What happened with the Jets last year? Mike Maccagnan was in hot water because this roster wasn't very good. Even though they moved on from Todd Bowles, what was the big reason Maccagnan got to keep his job? It's because he got the quarterback. If they have a quarterback, like let's say, for example, Jones starts the last 6 games and looks good, it's going to be hard to move off from Gettleman if he has the potential quarterback ready to go. If the Giants don't have a plan again at quarterback after next season, 2 years in a row, if Eli struggles, doesn't look good, and for the second year in a row, they don't have a young quarterback to turn to, and they don't have a long-term plan at quarterback. And I understand I understand next year's quarterback class is better, but you also have to understand this. What if the Giants are good enough to not be in the bottom 5? Then they're going to have to trade even more draft capital to move up in the draft to get a quarterback. And you never know. I think even with Eli, they have enough pieces. What if this team wins 6 games next year? It's still a bad year, but they're not going to be in the bottom of the draft. So for me, you have to invest in a quarterback. I think Jones is a good fit. I think he will be one of those quarterbacks that's willing to sit behind Eli Manning, and I think it will be a good transition. And for the Giants, I don't think you really give up too much. You give up the last pick in the third round. You give up the 5th pick. You move up a couple of spots. The Packers will do it. They get a couple of additional picks that they can use. And you don't give up a valuable second-round pick, which is the 37 pick, which I have them going with Julian Love, the quarterback out of Notre Dame. Look, the Giants need help at cornerback. There's no question. That defense needs an overhaul. And right now, this is a good guy that he could start. I have loved being a late first-round pick. Versatile corner, can do man, can do zone. Ran a 4.54 at the combine. He's a little bit more of a finesse corner. He's not going to jam guys at the line, but this is a guy, he has great coverage skills. He's a little bit of an underrated. We're going to see in this draft a lot of corners go. I think in the second round, because in the first round, you're going to see more of the defensive linemen, the pass rushers go. And I think the Giants in a great spot to get a guy who in most drafts, I think he would be a first-round pick probably between 20 and 25. But here with the abundance of defensive linemen and pass rushers, he falls to the Giants in the second round and could give them a day 1 starter. Now with no third-round pick, the next one will be Yanni Kajus, the offensive tackle of West Virginia, in the 4th round at pick 108. We seen Gettleman. He wants to build the trenches. Hey, look, Kajus started over 20 games at left tackle. Couldn't inherit the position from Solder down the road. He could be a plug-and-play option right now at right tackle. Big, 6'5", 310 pounds. What you're looking to now, it could take a bit of adjustment because you're talking about West Virginia. They throw it over the arc, playing the 2-point stance all the time. So it could be a little bit of a project, but you've seen it. What have the Giants done the last 2 years? It's build that offensive line, and especially if you're going to move to a rookie quarterback, and if you're going to make Saquon Barkley the feature piece, nothing's better than giving them a good offensive line to work behind, and that's why I think Kajus could be a good pick right here for the Giants. In the 4th round at pick 132, I have the Giants going with Marvell Tell, the safety out of UFC. It's no question. The Giants need help at safety. Landon Collins is gone. You need a guy who can potentially be a free safety, and I have Tell being that. I mean, you look, he missed 4 games with a broken collarbone early in the season. I think that has slipped his value a little bit, so the Giants could get him here in the 4th round. I think he could have been a high 3rd-round pick. Very good cover safety, a little bit smaller, but this is a guy, especially as a free safety, good ball skills, plays the ball well in the air, versatile in pass coverage. So I think he would fit well with the Giants as a free safety. In round 5, pick 142, the pick they didn't trade. That would be the 4th pick in the 5th round overall. Martez Ivy, the guard out of Florida. Now look, the guard position is set for the Giants, but you could use more depth. Find a prospect you could develop into maybe a potential starter. And you look, Ivy, this is the reason I really like him. He has played multiple positions. He's played guard. He's played tackle. Now, look, he underachieved a little bit. He was a 5-star recruit. Didn't really have the college career a lot of people expect. But look, he has an NFL body, and it's hard to find those in the 5th round. He's a versatile role lineman. You could put him out as a 6 offensive lineman. We're seeing, especially with a lot of run-heavy teams, to throw the extra lineman on the field. He could do that. Good backup at the guard positions, at the tackle position, and who knows, maybe even kick him inside to safety. They need depth, and one thing is with the Giants, you have an older offensive left tackle. You need to have good depth in the offensive line, so that's why Ivy makes a lot of sense here. Now, I'm going to probably butcher this name. Round 5, 171. Uleve Sungupole. I know, it's a tough one. Olive Sungupole. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying north. It's the nose tackle and the defensive tackle from Wisconsin. Look, at this point, it's hard to find nose tackles in the draft, and I really like his athleticism. I've seen him on tape, especially with Wisconsin. Was very good at moving, especially at 324 pounds of that nose tackle position. Look, he needs a lot of work on the technique, though, but he is a raw prospect, but he's got great athleticism at that size, which is very hard to teach. I think this could be a good guy that you could put on the practice squad potentially and develop as a defensive lineman. This defensive line needs an overhaul. Round 6, pick 180, I have the Giants going with Jordan Gowans, the running back out of Stony Brook. As great as Saquon is, you need a good backup. And Gowans Look, I think his value gets a little bit underappreciated because he split a role last year at Stony Brook. But he still averaged less than 20 carries a game and still ran for over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Ran just under 6 yards a carry. At 5'11", he's bulked up this offseason from 210 to 235. Still ran a 4.5 40 though. Could be a versatile back. Could be a little bit more of a physical in between the tackles guy. But this could be a guy you could get 5 to 10 touches a game, especially if you're going to have a young quarterback. Giving a good backup and giving Saquon a blow will be valuable. I think he would be a nice pickup here and a guy that you could have a nice role for as a backup and rotational back. Round 7, pick 232. Dre Watson, the middle linebacker of Maryland. I love this kid. He flies all over the field. Very good linebacker for the Terrapins. And one thing you notice about him, you look at his tackle totals and you see his performances. Ohio State. The bigger the game, the bigger he played. Could be a nice guy in the middle linebacker role. And the Giants have never really developed linebackers, but this could be a nice backup special teamer right from the bat. Maybe a potential starter down the road. And then at round 7, pick 245, Michael Dogby, the defensive end out of Temple. Very versatile. I mean, look, he can play a bunch of positions. He played the 5 technique, can play a 4-3 end, can play inside. This is a guy that he can rush the passer as a defensive lineman at 280 pounds. Look, he gives this Giants defense a little bit more versatility. He gets overlooked because I think he plays in the AAC. That scouts kind of look down upon that conference. But look, this is an athletic guy that you could develop potentially and use as a role player. Maybe get him on 5-10 snaps a game as a pass rusher. And then my priority free agent. I'm doing this one. You know what? I love you guys. I'm going to give you a little bit of a bonus. And a priority free agent. I know the Giants might not draft, and they could even draft, but could look at in the priority free agent period. And that's Reggie White Jr., the wide receiver from Monmouth. Small school prospect, but look, he's local. Monmouth, New Jersey. Ran a 4.45. He's 208 pounds, 6'2", had nearly 1,200 yards receiving, 11 touchdowns last year. Could be a nice developmental prospect. They need depth at the wide receiver position. And we've seen this with Victor Cruz before. The Giants are very good at finding receivers. That's one thing they're very good at. Certain teams they're very good at, and the Giants, I can't explain it. They've been very good at finding wide receivers in any round. It could be the first round with Odell, could be later rounds with Sterling Shepard, and it could be undrafted like Victor Cruz. They're very good at spotting talent at the wide receiver position, and this is a guy that they could potentially find. And look, he could be another diamond in the rough for the New York Giants wide receiving core. That's going to do it for this episode. Make sure you follow and subscribe. You can check out my Jets second mock draft 2.0 and my picks and their trades available wherever you are listening on Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spreaker, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and of course on YouTube. We're going to have another Giants mock draft before the final draft next Thursday. And of course, I'll give you my grades and my reaction to how their draft is going. Can't wait for the draft. It's my favorite event of the year. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any differences, if there's a prospect you think I'm overlooking, you think I should talk about in the next episode, or who you think the Giants should target, please reach out to us in the comments, or of course our email richsportstalk@gmail.com. And also check us out on Instagram using the handle Rich Sports Talk, and on Twitter using Rich Sports Talk. But until next time, I'm your host, Nolan Rich, and this is Rich Sports Talk.